Walking without a limp, it takes practice. It takes practice, practice, practice. A little bit of patience and some focus on good technique.
Are you ready to get back to the activities you love after knee replacement? Well, we're here to talk about what really works. The Total Knee Success Podcast is your trusted guide before and after total knee replacement. Here you'll find practical tips and evidence-based strategies, not personal medical advice, just education, all to help you manage pain, rebuild mobility, and get back to living the life you love. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Total Knee Success Podcast. Today, we're tackling one of the most common questions after surgery. When will I stop limping? Here's your first stat for today. Research shows that up to 80% of patients still have a noticeable limp at 6 weeks after total knee, but by 3 months, more than 70% regain a near normal walking pattern. And it's true, many people limp for months or even years before surgery due to arthritis pain and stiffness. And a lot of times it's fear of movement because that knee is so painful and that limp becomes a habit. And after surgery, retraining your walk isn't just about strength. It's also about motor learning. It's about motor control. And it's about practicing out of that habit, which means teaching your brain and body to break old habits and learn a more efficient pattern. Think of it like practicing a new skill. It takes repetition, it takes focus, and it takes time. I often hear people say, I thought I'd be walking normally right away. I thought I would be better as soon as I had surgery. And it feels harder than they expected. And this is a very common feeling. Is this something that you're experiencing? Are you experiencing a significant limp after surgery? In this episode, I'll walk you through some practical steps to retrain your gait so you can walk with a better gait pattern and have more confidence, decrease that limping. So step number 1, start with proper weight bearing. Many people hesitate to put full weight on their operated leg after surgery. They're worried, they're concerned, they're not sure if they're supposed to be putting full weight on it. And it generally is okay, unless you've been instructed not to put full weight on it, but it generally is okay to weight bear as you tolerate. So if you're having quite a bit of pain, you don't want to keep pressing and pushing through the pain, but you want to start learning to bear a little bit more weight on that leg, and that's actually going to assist you with the healing process. So practice shifting your weight evenly between your legs when standing, and start practicing shifting your weight back and forth. Now, the research shows that early weight bearing improves confidence and reduces the limp by 20 to 30%. That's significant, and promotes faster gait recovery at 6 weeks. Maybe try standing at the kitchen counter and gently shifting your weight from side to side. Focus on equal pressure through both feet. You might even try recording yourself on your phone while standing and weight shifting. Seeing yourself shift weight onto that leg often reveals some unevenness that you don't really feel, and it can give you a little bit more confidence. Or try standing on a small bathroom scale, shift your weight onto that leg over the scale, and see how much weight you're actually putting through the leg. Step number 2, use your assistive device correctly. And when I'm talking about an assistive device, I mean your walker or your cane. Not many people use crutches these days after knee replacement. It's possible, but we don't really see that as often. Walkers and canes help with balance for prevention of falls, and they do help you return to your normal gait pattern while your knee is healing. Here's another stat for you. Incorrect cane use can increase the limp and strain, and this is actually seen in 25% of patients during early rehab. So make sure your walker or cane is set to the correct height. So when you're standing up straight with your arms at your sides, the handle height should be about the height of your wrist bones or your watch. And if you measure it like that, then go ahead and place your hand on the cane or place your hands on the handles of the walker. Stand up nice and straight. And you should have a slight bend at your elbows, about 20 to 30 degrees. So it's very tempting to move to a cane quickly from the walker to the cane, or even toss the cane and go with no assistive device before you're ready. And if that's you and you're transitioning off an assistive device when you still have a significant limp, consider this. Gait, asymmetry, and strength deficits persist longer than you might think. So it's okay that you're not transitioning off of the walker or the cane right away. And your readiness to progress off the cane cue shouldn't be, I can limp without it, but rather there should be no visible limp, no kind of knee buckling, should have a nice symmetrical step length. And this aligns with multiple protocols, which state that you should have a normal gait before stopping devices. If you come off of your device too quickly and you increase that limping and increase that asymmetry in your gait, you're just practicing bad habits. This is pretty hard for some people to accept because they want to do it as quickly as possible. They feel like they're better if they're not using an assistive device. So, obviously your therapist is not going to follow you around at home, but just consider that you really want to be practicing as good of a gait pattern as possible. Okay, next tip, focus on heel to toe walking and correcting either too much knee bend or too little knee bend while you're walking during the different phases of gait. Some people who have a lot of knee flexion and who have had a knee flexion contracture for a long time, they wind up skipping that heel strike altogether and they land on their forefoot, which is not a normal gait pattern. The other issue is on the other end of the spectrum where people don't bend their knee enough. So they walk with a stiff-legged gait and their knee is always straight. So after surgery, people tend to carry over these common pre-op habits. Either the knee stays too bent during initial contact or mid-stance 2 times during the gait cycle when your knee should be all the way straight. And this creates sort of a crouched looking walk. And it actually makes your gait less efficient, more tiring. You have to rely on your muscles more and it's reliant less on a normal movement. Another issue is the knee is not bending enough during the swing phase. So that's when your leg is swinging through. And this creates a stiff-legged gait and it makes it harder to clear the ground. Sometimes people who have this stiff-legged gait will have to be picking up their toes constantly and they might wind up with a sore shin and they don't swing through as well. It also increases a tripping risk. These people might be catching their foot on the floor and they wind up tripping. So retraining both flexion and extension. So flexion is the knee bend. Extension is getting the knee out straight. That's essential for a smooth gait. You need the range of motion in both directions. And studies confirm that abnormal knee flexion patterns are common after a total knee replacement. And they tend to be carried over from years of arthritic-related walking limitations. So we want to try to train out of that after the knee replacement. And patients who do retrain normal flexion and extension patterns early, they show up to a 30 to 40% faster gain in walking speed and symmetry after knee replacement. So if your knee is too bent, work on getting your knee all the way out straight with your exercises with your therapist. And you can also do things like practice standing tall, landing gently on your heel with a soft but extended knee. And if your leg is too stiff and you can't bend it as much when you're walking, you can practice stepping over low obstacles with arm support. And that helps to encourage a natural swing phase with the knee bending. Another great tip is to watch yourself walk in the mirror or videotape yourself walking, which is pretty easy these days with a smartphone. You might even record yourself walking, once a week so that you can do some sort of comparison of your gait from one week to the next. Oftentimes we don't notice things from one day to the next, but we can notice a change if you're recording yourself once a week. Another exercise that we'll often do in the clinic, and I do this with people in the parallel bars, but you could do this with your hand support on the counter or on a wall, and that's walking backwards. When I have people walk backwards, I do have them take a step back, press their heel to the floor, and straighten their knee fully so that they can work on improving knee extension. And then one more tip for a walking drill. If you're a little further on and you notice that your walking is uneven, I will often have people download a metronome app on their phone and set that metronome to a good pace for their walking and have them listen to that metronome as they're walking. This really promotes a good rhythm and it prevents an uneven gait pattern. So a lot of people want to get back to walking on the treadmill, and this is great for people who have sufficient balance and who are safe. But generally speaking, most orthos will recommend that you wait at least 4 to 6 weeks after surgery to get on the treadmill, because when you're walking on a treadmill, the treadmill is forcing you to walk at a certain speed and it's forcing you to take steps a certain way. So that's a little bit higher level training than just walking across the floor. And you have to be very certain that you're safe on a treadmill. So talk to your therapist about this. That might be something that you can try at physical therapy to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident. In some clinics, they have anti-gravity treadmills, and those are really great because you are being supported by the treadmill mechanism. So this can be great for working on safe, supported walking and really working on your gait pattern. The next tip is to strengthen those key muscles for walking. Weak quadriceps, and the quadriceps are the thigh muscles in the front, and weak glutes or the hip muscles actually make limping worse. So strengthening those muscles can really help your gait pattern, and that's a process. Weak calf muscles can contribute to impaired balance. So we do know that strengthening improves walking speed and symmetry by 15 to 20% in the first 8 weeks. So talk to your physical therapist about what specific exercises you need to focus on within your rehab. Common exercises are things like quad sets, heel slides, mini squats, heel raises, and we'll go deeper into specific exercises and those strengthening and range of motion exercises in later episodes. And finally, once you get the walking down in your safe environment, in your home, on flat surfaces, practicing walking in different environments can be extremely helpful. We don't want to just stay home and walk on a flat surface. We want to be able to get out there and, do our thing out in the community. And walking well indoors is excellent, but it doesn't always translate into great walking outdoors because outdoor surfaces are different. Make sure that you're practicing on safe, varied surfaces once you're cleared by your orthopedist or your therapist, including things like carpeting, grass, sidewalks, ramps, curbs. And what the research tells us is that patients who practice in multiple environments report 30% more confidence in daily walking. So when you're ready, get out there and do some walking on some different surfaces, making sure that if you have the strength and you are safe doing so, do some training up and down stairs using a step 2 pattern to begin with. And then when strength improves, progressing to a step over pattern with 1 foot on each step. And make sure you have a rail available for safety. Also, dual task walking can be great when you're in the later stages and you're getting more confidence and better balance, adding a light conversation or carrying an object while walking, and that simulates some more real-life challenges. Some people even go to using a fitness tracker to set up weekly step goals and build confidence. So make sure you know when to call for help. You're going to definitely call your surgeon if you're having a sudden increase in pain with walking that is severe. If your knee is giving way and buckling out from under you, that's a reason to consult with your surgical team. Or if you have any new, more severe swelling, redness, or fever. Okay, let's hit the highlights one more time. Walking without a limp, it takes practice. It takes practice. A little bit of patience and some focus on good technique. The key takeaways: practice even weight bearing. Use your cane or walker properly and use it until it's appropriate for you to transition off of the cane or the walker. Try to correct either a leg that's too stiff and the knee is not bending, or too much bend and a crouched gait pattern. strengthen those muscles that power your walk. And then when you're ready, challenge yourself with different environments safely. Next time in episode 3, we'll talk about something every patient seems to struggle with. It really isn't every patient, but it is at least 50% of patients seem to struggle with, and that's sleep. I'll give you some strategies to improve your rest, from positioning to routines, so you can recharge at night and heal more effectively during the day. And just remember, everything we talk about here is for your education only, and some of it is opinion. I don't know you personally, so always follow the plan of your surgeon and your healthcare team. For more resources, including some assistive devices that will support your recovery, check out totalkneesuccess.com. We'll be dropping episodes every Tuesday and Friday morning. If you found this episode helpful, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to the show and maybe even share it with a friend or family member who's getting ready for a knee replacement. It really helps spread the word and support more people on their recovery journey.
This podcast is for educational purposes only. Visit totalkneesuccess.com for more resources. Follow the show and share it with a friend. Your total knee success is already in motion.